Hi, everyone. Welcome to Live Right Tonight. I'm Kara, and we are here with our special guest, Judge Joseph Toia.
Hi, everyone.
He's part of the drug court program in Macomb County. Judge Toia, would you like to start maybe giving us a little backstory? How long have you been serving the community as a judge?
Well, this interview actually works out to be a pretty special day because it was in 2015 at about 4 o'clock that I got a call from the governor appointing me to the 16th Circuit Court. So on August 10th in 2015, so 7 years ago, I was sworn in officially on September the 1st, and that's my first day on the bench, and been here ever since.
That's awesome. Do you want to explain what the drug court program is for those of our listeners that don't know?
Sure. Without getting too technical into all the details, the adult drug court program, actually drug courts in general started probably about 30 years ago. So they've slowly become very formidable and very popular around the country. I think here in Macomb, we started about 20 years ago with our first specialty court program. We now have specialty courts, not only as the adult drug court program, we have a veterans treatment court program. We have a sobriety court that deals specifically with alcohol issues. We have a mental health court, and we're soon starting a family treatment court that will address substance use disorders as well as other domestic violence type issues. So there's many forms of a treatment court. The adult drug court specifically is a intensive treatment based program. So it's used for individuals that are facing lengthy jail or prison sentence. Macomb prosecutor's office has to agree and consent to the participants' admission program. It's voluntary for the individual. They must agree to the program prior to the admission. They don't necessarily, get a reduction in any of their charges, but they may avoid, like I said, they may avoid a prison or jail sentence.
Okay.
Program itself is anywhere from 21 to 24 months. Generally, I'll sentence them to a 3-year term of probation, which gives us enough leeway in case we run into issues with regard to their treatment plan. Most graduate, or those that do, will do so within that 24-month program. If they get done early like that, then we can discharge or dismiss them from the balance of their probation term. The program consists of 4 phases that the participant must achieve in order to graduate or meet their commencement date. Each program implements different levels of treatment, support, structure, accountability, all the things that are there. I mean, let's face it, when they come into the program, if they've been in any of the treatment court, any program at all, one of the first steps is to admit that your life has become unmanageable. So most of the time when they come into the program, they're into that position where their life has become unmanageable. We try to get them back into some type of structure and accountability. Participants are expected to be in treatment. So we have different treatment programs, including individual treatment, group treatment, group sessions. They're required to do community service. They're required to attend court on, we start off on weekly sessions. So it just depends what their needs are. If they come in there, we deal primarily with high risk, high needs, that community. So, they might get released from jail into treatment, or we may send them into residential treatment before they come into the program.
Okay.
And then they'll get released, or if they're in the community already, we may just start them on outpatient or some type of inpatient, intensive outpatient program. So it just depends on where they are in their recovery and where they are in their criminal status of their case.
That's awesome. It seems like now like you explained, there have been more treatment programs starting to pop up now for people with, different types of addictions and domestic violence, things like that.
Yeah,
What?
it's just incarceration doesn't do a whole lot in terms of
Right.
treating substance use disorders. So we've learned that over these years. And, treatment is really what it takes. And it takes a program at least 2 or 3 years. And, if you follow the science, it may take, full, recovery is not,
Right.
it's not overnight, right? It's
Right.
it
A
takes
very
time.
long road. Yes.
It's a long road. So
It takes work. What now when you first started off as a judge, were you automatically doing the drug court, or how long have you been a part of drug court?
no, so I started, like I said, in September 1st of 2015, and took over a docket that involved a lot of trial work and cases that were ready for trial. So probably that first 6 months I worked on those trials, and then I volunteered to become an alternate for the adult treatment court as well as the veterans court program. Judge Biernat was here handling one portion of the adult treatment court. Judge Fonts had the other half. Judge Mark Switalski had the veterans court. And so I just came in a volunteer alternate basis so that we didn't have to adjourn cases if they weren't here or if they were in trial and we needed to cover it. So I started doing that. And then I think probably within the year, I took over Judge Biernat's program entirely. And then this past January, Judge Fonts, who had been one of the treatment court judges for, I think, about 10 years. So
been there forever, yeah.
Yeah, so she needed a break, and so I've taken over both sides of the docket now. So I'm handling both of the treatment courts. So it's all here.
That's awesome. Now, what would you say, from your line of work, how would you describe like the opioid epidemic and how it's affected our community as the years have progressed?
Well, we've all been through COVID, so we all know. I think those of us that work in this field, we see the impact that the shutdown has had. So we know that we are already dealing with opiate use disorders and substance use disorders even before then. So, I mean, the numbers are just staggering. If you look at 2021, there was 108,000 overdose deaths. And if you calculate that out, that's like 1 every 5 minutes that we're losing somebody to some type of substance abuse or substance use disorder, typically opiates. So during COVID, the courts were shut down. We lost the person-to-person contact.
Right.
They lost the participants, couldn't report. We had difficulty even drug testing. There was no accountability. Groups, they weren't able to go to their groups or their treatment. So it really had a major effect in the community. And that's just on the substance use community. When you get those that were trying to get it through their recovery, those, the rest of the community, I see it, just our criminal docket, probably 80% of my criminal docket is somehow related to substance use disorder, right? I've got retail fraud cases, or, what you might know as shoplifting. We got home invasions. We got larcenies from vehicles, break-in, they'll do they'll hit the unlocked doors at night. I mean, whatever they need to do, take from their own family and friends. So whatever they need to do in order to support their addiction. And that's why we have the programs that we do to help them to try to minimize the effect. And when we have an active treatment court program, we see a reduction. So, we see a reduction probably, I think the most recent number that I've seen is with drug treatment courts, about a 14% reduction in crime. When we look at risk and we deal with high risk, high needs, like I mentioned, then you might see about a 30% reduction in those types of cases and with those individuals. So the treatment courts do work, and they've been proven to work. It's just getting the funding that we need in order to increase our participant load, getting the judges on board in order that, but more and more across the country are adapting to this style
Right.
of justice.
That was actually my next question. What would you say the success rate is of participants in drug court, or have you seen, the increase of people using this program and staying clean?
Yeah, success, they vary each year. It's not easy to keep track, but we do. I mean, our grant funding is based on certainly on our activity and on our success rates. So they're determined based on our graduations. We try to track them for a couple of years to find out if they've, either picked up a new case, or if they're end up in treatment or relapse. Relapse is a process. It's not just an event. It doesn't just happen. There's something along the line that led to that relapse. So it's, but I would say that our success rates can vary somewhere between 40 and 75%. I think when I last spoke for Live Right, we were probably around 55%. So we do have a pretty good success rate when they get through the program. And again, we monitor them for a couple of years after they leave our program, and always invite them back. And we have huge, it's very rewarding when you see somebody get reunified with their family, with their kids, with their ability to work and maintain their job, even just to get a license or a car that they may never have had before. So when you see all those things happen, you see their world turn around, and they become highly motivated to maintain in recovery. So and
Definitely
that's the whole hope. We just try to give them the tools to get it through. So
yeah, that was I do, working in a recovery resource center, you come across all sorts of different people, and people that we've spoken with that have participated in drug court that are still clean now, have said that that was one of the best decisions they've made, to go through drug court and have those resources and the groups and everything to basically help them get back on track. So
and one of the things that we've had to overcome is certainly that there's some there was always, they may not have been fully informed on the benefits of treatment court. They may think that it might be too intense. So it really depends, again, where they are and if they're ready for recovery, if they're ready to start working toward it. And, that's the key. If they're, we all want it. We can't want it more than they do. And I promise them all that we'll walk down that path with them, but we can't do it alone. We have to have, them with us, and we'll be there for the ups and downs and get them through it. But those that are high risk, high needs, I mean, they come in, they've dealt with the courts before. And so it's like, think about this, they come into court and we're like, yeah, hi, we're the government, and we want to help you, and you have to trust us. Well, that's a real hard sell when they've been in the program, and I don't like to use the term broken people, but broken people lose the ability to trust. And when I say broken people, I mean, it's on both sides. So it affects all of us in terms of those that are dealing in the system, and those that have become victims of the system in terms of those that might have been family members. They lose the ability to trust the person with the substance use disorder, as well as them trying to trust the court. So we need to build trust and honesty, and we do that through honesty, empathy, and hope. And that's really what we offer here, is that we'll do all those things. We'll give you the tools that you need to get through this program, but you got to be willing to do it. And sometimes, attorneys might have been discouraging and not encourage them because, they may have misinformation about how strict it is. But, it really comes down to basic things in terms of reporting. We test not because we want to violate people, but we test to find out what their status is. I mean, if we don't know if they're relapsing, if we don't know what's going on, if we don't know what that trigger is and where they're at, then how can we provide the tools necessary? So I'm not, you know, the hardest thing to do is send somebody to jail or prison because they're an addict. You know, if they're out committing crimes, I have to deal with that aspect of it because that's part of my obligation and duty. But I need to know where they're at so that we can get them the proper guidance and get them back to a higher level of treatment if necessary to help them graduate. You know, that's our goal.
Absolutely. Would you say, are there any other, excuse me, are there any other resources or avenues of recovery that can be used if someone is not in like the judicial system, if they don't have legal issues or whatever? Would you guys recommend anything to someone like that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of outside sources, obviously through CARE and through the Access Center, through programs like at Live Right, and you know, FAN I know has different outreach programs to help family members and to help those that you know, family members that may have somebody that's that's suffering from a substance use disorder, and you know, can help them, you know, from that perspective to get in. You know, you have the harm programs, right? I mean, that's I was recently at the National Drug Court Conference down in Nashville. We had about 8,500 people in attendance, and that's drug court professionals from all over the country.
Huge, yeah.
Yeah, it was a huge, and it's one of the most powerful conferences that you'll attend, and all different aspects are addressed, whether you're a treatment court judge, whether you're a therapist, a probation officer, a prosecutor, defense attorney, or someone in recovery. I mean, all forms of dealing, you know, all areas were covered.
Right.
And the best speakers in the country on this issue, the most up-to-date science information. And, you know, harm reduction is something that's also out there. I know that there are some locally, there's some harm reduction programs here. And, you know, and if we can help the individual that isn't into the system yet to where, you know, they can benefit from a drug court program, at least there's an opportunity to keep them safe, to keep them, keep the community safe in terms of, you know, where they won't be perhaps committing crimes and ending up. There's some pretrial diversion programs that are out there. There's, you know, there's all the HOPE programs, you know, turn yourself in. There's a lot of different programs that you can find, and certainly all the 12-step and similar programs, you know, cover all aspects right now.
Right.
You know, and gambling, and even gambling is another one that I think in the near future, we'll probably see a gambling treatment court, because, you know, everyone's walking around with a casino in their pocket. Yeah. If we get them through recovery and on one end, you know, then we might have to deal with, you know, some other issues. So so it's all out there, and you know, and the courts are aware of it, and we're trying to address those needs.
Now, what would be your advice to someone that is facing, you know, the legal aspects of it and maybe a little apprehensive about joining drug court? Would there be any advice that you could give them to maybe help them move towards that line of treatment?
Sure. You know, certainly, you know, address it with their judge, ask, fill out the application so that we could go through it, and they'll go through an interview process with one of our coordinators or counselors, and see what their needs are. And again, at this point with our funding, we take in high risk, high needs. But I would say start there for sure, because you'll have that one-on-one conversation with someone that's highly trained that can address those things, give them some reassurance with regard to the program itself. You know, it's all about the relationship between the judge, the participant, the program, and then we can increase the depth of achieving recovery, you know, through that. So, it's a team effort. I rely on the team that I have here in the drug court. It's an excellent group, that are available pretty much 24/7 to the participants. So I've seen them getting
Amazing.
calls and text messages and contacting me and trying to deal with their issue, with the issues. And
Right, absolutely. I think the drug court program itself, I too, obviously being a recovering addict, have been caught up in the system, due to my addiction. And I was never offered the drug court program, but now that I know a little bit more about it, I thought, wow, what a great tool to help someone in that situation.
It is a great tool, and you got to reach out. There's other things. I mean,
Right.
medically assist. I thought you froze up there.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I'm not sure where we left off, but we were just talking about, medically assisted treatment. You mentioned, what else is out there in terms of
Yes.
those that may or may not be in the program. And I think a big part of it, we have to get back to where we are as a community and with regard to the whole use disorder issue.
Right.
And
Right.
we need to change the stigma. And I think you're probably familiar with that.
Yeah.
It needs to be treated because it's not just, it's actually a reformation of the brain itself and the impact. Your body has to be in balance. And when your body's out of balance, and when you're using a substance, then your body stops producing, certain things. And when you eliminate the substitute, all of a sudden your body is out of balance. And so what happens, you start craving. And then you crave, that's what the addiction is all about until your body gets back into balance. And so for that to happen to where your body starts to produce the things that are being substituted through the drug, right? It takes time to do that. The science says it could be anywhere from 2 years to 9 years. So for this process to happen. So it's a long-term recovery process. And if we can treat individuals through I only have them up for up to 3 years. But
Right.
if it, recovery is forever, right? You have to deal with it forever. So, we can teach you the tools, we can give you the structure back, we can help you get reunified during this time period. But, when you graduate, it's not like, you're done with high school.
Right.
Right? It ain't all over. And that's why, it's really like a commencement because you're just moving into a different phase. You're transitioning now from the court system basically into your independent living, and you need to do that. We hope to give you the tools like we would, help you furnish your apartment, right? So that you can move into independent living. Well, we're trying to do that so you can move into independent recovery and have the support structure there and to get you through long-term recovery. Because it's going to be a lifestyle. And, it's no different than, having, diabetes or something where, you may need medication to help you at times. And, and there's nothing wrong with that. And that's the stigma that we have to address. And if we can do that and we can get people reunified with their family, if we can get them reunified with work and other things and make them productive members of society again, and then what else can we expect? And if it takes medication to do that or other treatment to do that, then that's what it's going to take. And we have to accept it. And I think treatment courts are at the forefront of it. And I think the legal system is. And I think that we're seeing that. And I think that as from the negative sides that we've seen from the pandemic, I think, on the other hand, it has helped. And we're seeing funding coming from these opioid settlements and other, and just there's more community outreach there. There's more opportunity to help. And once we address that stigma, that's a big part of it. So.
Yes, absolutely. I did NA and AA for a while. I also participate in medicated assisted treatment. So hearing that it is important from you, that really does a lot for me because there was such a stigma attached to being on medicated assisted treatment. In the very beginning, I think it's a lot more popular now than it was. before, but
Well, it is because, we've gotten support. I mean, there's ADA issues, it could be, classified as a disability, and you're entitled to the medication, even if, even the jails and prisons have, had to adapt. And
right.
it's, if you're entitled to medication for any type of disorder, then why can't you have your medication for your substance use disorder until, so again, it's here, and we have a lot of support for it. So
It's definitely, like I said, it's definitely helped me. I never in a million years thought I'd be where I am today versus what I was before, so
right.
I appreciate your time. You have excellent wisdom, and we appreciate what you do in the community as far as the drug court and things like that. You are one of the ones making a difference, and we appreciate that. So thank you.
It's the power. It really comes down to the power of the second chance, right?
Absolutely.
And it's amazing what the power of the second chance to do. So if they can come into my court and I can give them that second chance, and when you ask the participant what made the difference, most of them will tell you it's that we care. It's caring, that we have a program that actually cares about the individual. And, the role of me as a judge is to engage people and to motivate them in the treatment, to be willing to re-engage them when they slip and fall, without doing blame or bringing blame, right? Because I know that's going to happen in this program. How can it not, right? I'm dealing with a whole use disorder. So it takes time, and the more that the judges in the legal system get familiar with it and get educated on it, and realize that it does work, and the drug courts have been successful, not only in reducing the crime rates, but in also assisting individuals get reunified, like I said. They're just great programs, and I'm just honored to be part of it, to do whatever I can to do to assist and to bring it to our community. So I thank you for the opportunity to have this conversation. And if anybody has any questions, you're welcome to reach out to our court, and I'm sure we can get somebody to, if not me, maybe our coordinator or someone can address this, or we'll come out and speak and bring it out to the community. But I think it's very important that the community be aware as to what the courts are doing, and that we need to change the stigma.
Absolutely, especially when you're caught up in the legal system, like you said, the trust thing not being there. We're so used to sometimes being failed by that system, and now being, here, let me give you these resources to help you, versus we're just going to throw you in jail. I think a lot of people are starting to see that now, and hopefully want to participate in drug court. So
hey, it goes all the way back. I mean, this isn't some new idea. I mean, I'm trying to think of who it was that said it, but it was like 2,000 years ago, and it was never lose patience on an individual that's making change, no matter how long it takes. So it's gonna, if they come into the court and we have that mindset, and we don't lose patience on those individuals, and we work with them, and we provide the caring and the treatment and the resources that are necessary, then what else can we do? I mean, that's what it's all about. So
all right, Judge Toia, well, thank you so much for your time. It was excellent getting to speak with you today. And again, thank you for what you do in the community.
Well, thank you for the opportunity.
All right, have a great day. Thanks for sharing.
All right, thanks. Take care.
Bye.